Hello everyone and welcome to the Cherry Heart podcast. I'm Sandra and this is episode 66 and this is a crochet and knitting and crafty podcast where I talk about those crafty things. You'll be able to find the show notes for this podcast on my blog, which is cherryheart.co.uk, and if you just click podcast at the top, and that's where I'll have the links to everything I talk about and some pictures, and you'll be able to go to my Ravelry project pages there, which will have any links to the yarns I used and patterns and so on. I'm also on Instagram as Sandra Cherry HRT, because it wouldn't let me have Sandra Cherry Heart because it was too long. And I'm elsewhere on the web as Cherry Heart. So, how are you? It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been quite a while. A bit of an unscheduled hiatus has occurred around here recently with me. Yeah, I think, well, Easter holidays accounts for a couple of weeks of it. So we had the Easter holidays here, so the schools were off. So I'd planned to sort of pretty much have that, not time off, but time away from the podcast anyway. But I'd meant to come back and do another one before the holidays, and I think I could have done, I could have done more basically, but I haven't. I ended up sort of, I think I needed a bit of a break actually. I think sort of, it was kind of good to have a bit of a pause, not necessarily from the podcast, it was just that was one of the things that fell by the wayside with everything else that was going on, but just a bit of social media break. I think I'd had a bit of a Instagram moment, a bit of an anomaly. I'm normally I feel quite happy with my how I keep my distance from these things. I don't get too sucked into it. I can generally be on it a reasonable amount just looking at it, but I don't really feel that it sort of, I feel that it stays quite a healthy relationship up until like a few months ago where it kind of just went a bit mad, and I think I got a little bit sucked into the worrying how my posts are doing and sort of, I always want to put a bit of effort into making my pictures look nice, obviously, because I just like to look at a nice picture, so I like to put out a nice picture, but I don't know, it sort of strayed over into, I was thinking about it too much, it was on my mind too much, and I thought, well, this isn't like me, this is, this seems strange. So yeah, I just had to pull back from it a bit and sort of gain some perspective, I think, away from it, and sort of, but I think in that sort of it felt like actually I needed a kind of a break from sort of having to keep up with, there's that feeling, isn't there, there's always that a little bit of pressure that you feel like you have to sort of keep on top of everything, and I just needed a bit of a break from that, so that's what I've done really. So I'm trying to sort of feel my way back in. I know some sort of messages fell by the wayside while I was sort of having my unscheduled stop. Sorry, I'm darting all over the place. It's been a while, I'm all out of practice again. What was I saying? Yeah, I know I didn't sort of get back to everyone. I don't think I did anyway, so I'm sorry if you messaged me and I didn't get back to you. If it's still important or you wanted to message me again, you can. I've got a feeling there were some and then I couldn't find them. There's so many places they can be now. They can be on Facebook, or they can be on an Instagram post, or they could be an Instagram direct message, or it could be an email, or it could be on my blog, or it could be on Ravelry, and the list goes on, or YouTube, And generally I'm quite good at remembering where I've seen them, or I can sort of check a few places, but sometimes it just, if you don't go back and check quite quickly, it can just somehow get lost. And yes, so I apologise if that happened to you. And I know I haven't caught up with some of my emails yet as well, so again, apologies if you are still waiting for that. I'll try and get back on top of it, hopefully this week. But anyway, we're not here to hear my excuses about that. So, but just in case you were waiting, that's why I wanted to say it. But let's get on and show you. I probably haven't got as much to show as you might expect, considering sort of how long I've been away, but that's because I've been, sort of another reason really why I squirreled myself away for a bit was because I've been working on secretive things that I can't talk about yet. But I am quite excited about it. But yeah, I sort of just wanted to focus on that for a while. So yeah, being sort of less worrying about, you know, keeping everything else going just meant I was able to sort of just get my head down really with that particular project. But anyway, I have got some things to show you, so let's see where we are. Normally I would start with things I've finished. So let's stick with that, because why not? I'm just going to grab some sock blockers, because I have some socks to show you when I haven't done anything useful like prepare. Ooh, sorry. Yeah, I'm not very prepared. So these socks are made with some beautiful Crafternoon Treats yarn that I was given by lovely Catherine, and she wanted me to do a review of this yarn and how it worked, particularly how it worked up for socks. Oh, I left my stitch marker on. It's a really cute one. Oh, and you're going to wonder where it's come from, and I'm not sure. Bother. There's a couple of places where I get them from, so it'll be one of a couple. But I'll put it down here because I don't want to say the wrong one. It has been known. So this is the yarn. Let me show it to you. I think I showed it to you before in the last episode, actually, on the hank, you know, not wound. So that's what I've got left, and as you can see, it is really pretty and sort of subtle. And yeah, just utterly beautiful really. It doesn't, I'll have to try and take, well, hopefully, let's show you the socks. I was just going to say it doesn't really capture on the camera quite how beautiful it is, because you lose a lot of the sort of subtleties, but it's really delicate. Catherine's done such a beautiful job with it. Oh, I've just realised I don't know what the colourway name is either. Ill-prepared rubbishness. I'll look it up in a sec. Let's just get these socks on in some kind of reasonable manner. Right, I've actually made these quite long. There we go, there they are as socks. Oh my goodness, so pretty. Let's do a bit of a close-up. See, it's funny how much the grey is really showing strongly on the camera. Let's look, see, that one looks a little bit more, that's more representative. So there's grey in there, but it's not as, that one it looks quite, well, there is more grey in that one, I suppose. Okay, fair enough. But even there, let's see, the grey's looking really prominent on that, and it's not. It's just all really beautifully subtle. I'll pop a picture in the show notes so you can, hopefully that will show it better. Oh, it's just gorgeous. It's one of those ones that have been really nice to use, because, not just because of the yarn, I mean because of the colour, because it's just, you know, as you wrap it round, as it goes over the needles and all the little lovely little multicoloured little lines form, it just looks so pretty. I always enjoy that when it's a really nice one, that like every little stitch is like another little pretty colour. Yes, so there we go. Let me look up and tell you the name of this. Okay, so this is her South Atlantic Silky base, and this particular colourway is called South Sea Pearls. Oh, it's just beautiful. I don't know if she's got any of this in her shop at the moment, but think you should get some in, Catherine. It's just so gorgeous. And wouldn't this make a beautiful shawl as well? Oh, it'd be so nice as a shawl. Anyway, this is a Merino yarn, and actually I've got the label in here. Look, I have the information at my fingertips this whole time. As I said, I did talk about it a little bit last time, but so 75% fine merino, that's UK merino, and 25% mulberry silk. So the point of this was to see how well silk works as a substitute for nylon. So I've heard it said that you can use silk as an alternative, as a substitute, like a natural substitute for nylon. So we wanted to see how well that worked. But I mean, it also makes for just, you can sort of see possibly on the yarn more, just that gives it that bit of a sheen. It's got this beautiful, like sort of almost iridescent-y quality to it, because it's got a little bit of a sheen. But anyway, it's so unbelievably soft and beautiful to knit with. It's just like I say, it'd be a lovely shawl to wrap yourself up in. It would be a gorgeous cardigan. You could use it for anything really, but if you wouldn't think from the softness that you could use it to make a sturdy pair of socks. So hence this experiment. So anyway, I have my socks now at last. I'm very waffly. This is probably going to happen, isn't it? So now I need to wear them and want to see how well they wear. Now mine normally wear on the bottom of the heel most. So I'm going to endeavour to wear these around for you. I am sort of semi-careful with my socks, so I'm going to wear them how I normally wear them, which would be I wear them in the house, I wear them outside, I wear them in my boots when I go dog walking, but I won't wear them, you know, I'll always have something on my feet, so whether that's the boots or shoes if I'm outside, or slippers or something inside. I don't actually have just the socks and walk around in just socks, because I just find anything that I've used wears through really quickly if I do that. So I will do that with these, and we'll see how they wear. But it knits up beautifully, the colourway is beautiful, and because it was so pretty and delicate, I thought a nice little tiny pretty and delicate little lacework pattern would be appropriate. So as you can see, it's very simple, just little eyelets, groups of little eyelets. I thought that looked quite pretty, and I also thought it might suit this nice little peacock hem. And it's been ages since I've done one of these on a sock. So hem, I suppose because it looks like a hem, doesn't it? Because it's actually folded over. But it's a cuff, isn't it? It's a sock. This is a cuff. But yeah, so I did that. So that's a peacock cut. Peacock? It's not peacock. There's no peacocks in these socks. No peacocks were harmed to make these socks. Peacock. Or peacoat, do you say actually? I always want to say peacock, like some kind of Philistine. Peacoat. Yeah, anyway, so that's the calf, lacework leg. And then the heel, I just did my Eye of Partridge slip stitch heel flap. It's slightly modified because of the stitch count, but you know, just did it across what stitches were there. And then for the heel, I've done a square heel, which I've been meaning to try more. It's on my list of things to do this year, is try more square heels, which I really like. I think I like it better than a normal heel turn, and one of the reasons I like it better is it's easier to sort of remember how to set it up for a start, although I'd remembered the other way, so that's fine. But I like that it just gives you a slightly shorter gusset. Because you lose more stitches when you do it this way, you have less stitches to decrease as part of the gusset, so it's a little bit shorter. Does that make sense? Gusset, so it's slightly smaller, but I quite like that because I do need a gusset. I think it fits me better. And also I definitely wanted to have a gusset because these are lacework and I didn't want to distort the pattern too much. So I find if I haven't got a gusset, it has to stretch over this portion, has to stretch out so much, it just distorts it and looks horrible, to my mind. So yeah, so I definitely wanted to gusset, but that makes it a bit shorter. And I don't know about you, but I like when the gusset goes a bit quicker because there's more stitches, so it always seems a bit tedious getting down to the normal stitch count again. So if you can make that bit shorter, that seems like a good thing to me, as long as you don't mind having a bit slightly less give here. But yeah, so then carried that on through the foot and the toe. I think I just did my rounded wedge toe. What do I call that? It's in my Pick and Mix Socks pattern. I've got like a swirl, completely rounded toe, a wedge toe. I'm sure this is just a rounded wedge toe. It might be option. Don't say things if you don't know what you're talking about, Sandra. I'll put down here what option it is. I'm not going to guess what option it is because that would be pointless for everyone, wouldn't it? Right. So yeah, so those are done and I'm really happy with them. I think they came out beautifully and I do quite like how this pattern came out. I think it's like made by the yarn entirely, but I do think it's quite nice. So I might write this up as a pattern as well with the little alternative cuff and the little stitch count, and yeah, I just thought that might be quite a little nice pattern to chuck up. What do you think? Good idea? Bad idea? So yeah, so those I'm very happy with. I only finished these quite recently, so yes, I'm very happy because I've got a lot of I've got a backlog of socks that I want to be making. So I had these that I wanted to make, and then, well, we'll come back to the other ones because they're not finished yet. So that's my first finished object to speak of. And then my next finished object is this one. It's my boho bag that I have just decided to call that. I thought it was fitting. It's kind of like a sort of 60s, 70s kind of style, isn't it? That sort of crocheted, sort of long handle hanging down, but the fringing. So I had this kind of idea for this. I wanted it all in cream. Well, this is sort of a marriage of ideas. I kind of wanted a crochet bag, and I knew I had this cream cotton in stash. So the idea kind of formulated that it would be all cream and neutral like this, which I quite like. So this was Rowan cotton, Pure Life cotton, and I had 4 balls of that in stash, and this used up pretty much all 4. I think I did have a bit left, but not too much. So I started out with these squares. I'd sort of come up with this square design. So I sort of had the basic idea that I wanted some little popcorn bits for a bit of interest, but I quite like the idea of having sort of holes as well, so I didn't want it to be too solid. So I did a load of squares. Thought I shall join those somehow, make some sort of bag. I didn't really have a clear image of how this was going to turn out. So my first idea is I'll just make 9 squares, join them into a square, make another 9, plonk that on the back, sew them together. That'll be it. It'll be really, really simple, and then, you know, just crochet some kind of strap on. But as it went on, I was thinking actually that's going to be quite small if they're just together. I'm not going to be able to fit much in it, so it's better have some sort of gusset, some sort of something to give it a bit more width, so it's got like a sort of side to it there between. So I did a kind of gussety bit I added on. So I really wasn't sure. This was one of these, this took ages to do, this bag, because it was one of those make it up as you go along ones. So after I decided it needed a bit more than just the squares, I was like, well, shall I have smaller squares around the edge? Shall I make more squares and wrap them round? Do I do sort of some sort of base to make it like so it's got a bottom, and then just do the squares round that? You know, wasn't quite sure, so I had to put it away, kept to put it away and just sort of thinking about it for ages. But anyway, eventually I decided to do it like this, and I thought I'd keep a little bit of opening down there as well to show, because after I had this idea of them having holes in, I thought I could put like a really nice colourful lining in to peep through, to add a bit of interest. My original idea was just going to leave it clear, but then as I was making the squares with the holes, I thought, oh no, a bit of colour peeping through, that would be fun. So I went with that in the end. I was going to go for hot pink to peep through. And I kind of wish I'd stuck with that. But I didn't have any hot pink fabric. I had this nice pale blue fabric. And I came up here the other day because I'd finished the crochet part. You know how it goes. You finish the crochet part, that's fine. And then the sewing bit or the finishing off takes like another 6 months or something. So it was hanging around for a bit. And then I was just up here the other day and I had a couple of hours spare and I thought, you know what, I could actually do that lining now. So I just went with something I had in stash. But yes, it's just this very plain blue cotton, which I think I salvaged from something else, bed sheets or something, so it's quite thin. Yeah, I thought that looked fine poking through. So where had I got up to? Yeah, I'd done my gusset, I added the strap on. Could have done with it slightly longer maybe, that's fine. So I did the strap in the same way to match, so that kind of looks the same. And then the little flap, I can't remember if I was going to have a flap or not, but I decided I wanted one. So I thought, well, a square and these triangles should do. And then I had to go around it a little bit more to make it the right width to attach. And then my original idea was to line that as well, but then I thought I didn't think it needed it when it came to it. So it's just got that tassel as a bit of extra weight to hang it closed, which I quite like. And yeah, I just had to have this fringing on. Lots of lovely dents. I wanted it to not be like individual tassels, I wanted it to be a definite sort of fringe hanging. So there we go. That is it. As I say, I'm completely winging it. So sorry about that. If you were interested in it, I only say that. Oh, it sounds a bit big-headed. Oh, obviously you want to make it, so let me know. It's not that. It's just that a couple of people on Instagram had sort of said, "Oh, you know, what's the pattern?" I was like, sorry, there isn't a pattern. It would make quite a good pattern. I quite like the idea of it as a pattern, but you know, pattern list long, time short. So I shall make no promises. I think. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm happy how well it turned out considering how much I was winging it. The only thing I would change actually if I'd made it again was to just I made the triangle start right from the back so it's immediately going into a point. I think what I should have done was do a few straight rows first and then the triangle, because if it was full, the triangles, do you know what I mean? It's not going to hang. I haven't allowed for the fact there's a gusset that would need to be covered as well. So in theory, if it was like rammed full, the triangle would hang a bit funny, but I don't think it's going to come up too much. And I'm thinking, you know, it's not a huge bag. It's more of a handbaggy size than anything else, so it probably won't get absolutely filled to the rafters. So I think it'll be okay. But yeah, I might actually change that though if I were to ever make it again, which I don't particularly see happening, but you never know, do you? So yes, that's my other finished object. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say about that, other than I finally finished it. I'll pop a little picture in actually. I had little Miss doing a little modelling session for me, flouncing around. So I'll pop that in so you can see. So let's move on to what I am doing. So back to socks now, sock plans. I started these ones. I think I spoke about these in the last podcast actually. I'm going to put it on the blocker to show you. I'm calling this a finished object, but technically it isn't in actual fact finished. So here it is. I've just got a Kitchener the toe. That's literally all I have to do. yeah. That's quite nice, isn't it? It looks alright. Not that I was thinking it didn't look right, but it just looks better on the sock blocker than it did off of it, I think. So this is Starcraft Yarn. So this is their Head Over the Heels yarn, which is it's a wool nylon blend, so it's a I think 75-25% blend, and so you've got the nylon for the socks if you want to use it as socks. So it's 100 grams, so you've got plenty to make a pair of socks there. So that's the heels part, but it's soft enough and nice enough. And this is wool, and I'm quite sensitive, but I can actually wear this okay. Yeah, so it's soft enough that you can wear it around your head as well. So hence the head. So it's head over heels socks. Yeah, so I haven't got round. So this one, oh goodness me, coherent sentences. So it's the Head Over the Heels yarn, but this colourway is my colourway. Ooh, exciting. We went up to Starcraft Yarns and we saw a David Hockney exhibit, and words are formulating, let's hope they come quick. We went to a David Hockney exhibit, and then Starcraft said was to come up with a palette based on our, what we'd seen there, the exhibits there, or one of particular painting. So and this one was inspired by a series of pictures that David Hockney did called the Weather series. So yeah, I quite liked those, and I liked the colours in those. I actually had sort of like an aqua green in, which only gets you don't quite know when you pick the colours how it's going to translate, which bits are going to go where. So the green is a very small, or the aqua colour is a very small bit, which I didn't realise that was how it turned out. But yeah, overall, it's nice to see how it comes out, and it comes out quite nice, I think. So it's called Aussie, my one. I'm not quite sure why. I think they decided to go with another picture than the one I've chosen. Like I say, I was inspired by the Weather series, but it's called Aussie, which I think is another one of his pictures. So maybe that's just like a more famous picture, so they thought it would make more sense. I don't know. But yeah. That's a long story just to tell you that, isn't it? That I wanted to try it out. So these are kind of my on the back burner socks. So I've had these, I started these before I started the other ones. And yeah, it's a nice simple pattern, just sort of a ribbing pattern. So I just wanted something, one of those, when you're not sure what to do, just a couple of rows on this. And it was quite handy. We were watching Game of Thrones the other day, and I didn't want to work on the other thing that I'd got on the go because it was a bit too much focus, but I thought I could just do a few rows on this and still watch what was happening. Okay, and I've got my little stitch marker, which was a present from lovely Amelia. I need to transfer over onto my new one. Now I can cast a new one on. Right, so that's that one. So they'll probably take quite a while before they're actually done, but that's okay. So in the meantime, I've got two other socks that I really want to make, and this is one of them. So let me show you what I've done. I've only made a little start. It's all pretty. Let's put this on the hand. It's quite similar colours actually, in a, like a sort of peachy blue in there, and I've got peachy and blue in there. What are the chances? Let me show you the yarn, because it's just so beautiful. Look at that. Oh my goodness, and that's the little contrast yarn. So zingy. Ooh, making everything vibrate there. No, don't focus on me, focus on the yarn. So this yarn is from my lovely friend Sam, who is Betsy Makes, on Instagram, and her blog and her Etsy shop. There we are, it's focused on it quite nicely now, isn't it? So she made these friendship sets, these little sock friendship sets. So what you get, well, you get 100 grams of the main yarn, and you get 20 grams of the contrast colour yarn, but they're split into 2 sets, so 50 grams and 10 grams for you, and 50 grams and 10 grams of the contrast yarn, which you can gift to a friend. Isn't that such a cute idea? And then you can knit socks in the same colours. So she sent me half of a set, and she has got the other half. So we're going to make little socks together. Well, we're making different patterns, I believe. I don't know what patterns she made, but I'm pretty sure it didn't look like this. But yeah, she's got the same colour yarn as me. So this colour is Rupert, Gibbon and Spider. Isn't that a brilliant name? It's something to do with the dye she uses, apparently. But yeah, they're just so pretty. And you see she's got the little sort of rusty flecks in there to pick up, that she's picked up in the contrast colour. Oh, love it. Let me just show you, I've got a nice plain bit there. How it looks. Yeah, that's just really pretty. So we're probably going to do Shorty Socks, although I've got 60 grams of yarn there. And if I knit a whole sock with a proper leg, that sort of would normally take me around 60 grams. So I've decided I'll do a little leg, a short leg, rather than a completely like cuff and then straight into the heel shorty. But I think I'll still do them a bit shorter than I normally would, just to be sure. Don't want to be playing yarn chicken at the end, getting worried I won't have enough to finish. So yeah, I think I'll just do a little leg. So this pattern, which is quite pretty, I will also find for you. It's by Jen Sheelan, and it's called Hint of Sophistication Socks. So she gifted me this pattern, thank you Jen, along with her other latest sock pattern, which is Dragon Socks, was it? Or Dragon Toe Socks? Yeah, Dragon Toes Socks. And so I've got some to give away for you. So we'll be doing a giveaway soon. I've collected a few bits up that people have so kindly given me, so we'll have to do a giveaway. But yeah, so I've just started that. It's hard to tell because I haven't got much there, but that's the pattern repeat. Starting to repeat with some sort of cabling. I really like this one, sort of the stitch stretches across. That looks really pretty. I modified it slightly to add another one in the middle, because I wanted to, basically. I think Jen had more of a gap in the middle of hers, but I thought, no, I'll just spread it out ever so slightly and just put an extra one in there. And then I decided not to do sort of cables on the back, you see, so I thought I'd just keep the focus on the front because I'm not going to have much of a leg. And then that's just me carrying on with the sock. I don't know why I'm doing that. Yeah, so I've started those, and then I've got another pair of socks I really want to start as well, but getting a bit starty-itis around here, and you know, if you've been here before, if you know me, I just generally don't like too much on the go. So it gets all a bit overwhelming, doesn't it? Right, next work in progress is this one. Let me show you the pattern first. Not sure how we're saying this. I think I showed you this before that I said I wanted to make it. I just think it's really pretty. Little lightweight sort of summer throw over what you're wearing, which I really like. It's got that beautiful sort of leafy pattern. The only trouble I've had is the yarn. The yarn they've used is a sport weight linen yarn. Okay, so linen yarn, not that many about, not much choice. Sport weight yarn, not that many about, not much choice. So the category, you know, the number of yarns that fit into the category of sport weight and linen, well, it's basically this one she's used pretty much, which it looks lovely, but the amount you needed, I was just looking where it says how many you need. Yeah, 6 balls for the smallest size, and which I might be able to get away with. 9 balls for the medium size, 11 balls for the large size. I think the medium size would be... I'm just thinking while I'm talking here, which is never a good thing because I get distracted. Anyway, my point is you need quite a lot of balls, and although I don't think the yarn is overpriced for what it is, you know, linen isn't as cheap as some other options. So I think the yarn itself is reasonably priced. However, the amount you need means it makes this more than I wanted to spend on it, basically, because it's just like a little summer cover-up, and I live in the UK and you never know how much summer you're going to get, really. And I don't know, I like it, I really like it, and I will wear it, but I don't know how much wear I'll be able to get out of it, so I really don't want to spend like vast amounts of money on it. And also it's a garment, and although I'm getting a little bit more confident with my garment making, there's always that sort of risk of, you know, it's got to fit. I mean, this is sort of, you can actually, let's go back to the other page. You know, it's quite a sort of loose style, so I think I've got quite a bit of grace there, so I'll just aim for, you know, bigger. So I think that's fine, but I just, like I say, I didn't really want to invest loads of money in it because the reasons I've already stated, and you don't need me to state again, really, do you? Because I'm just repeating myself. So anyway, I looked around at various different options, but in the end I just went with cotton. I was hoping to use Starcraft linen drape, which I really like. It came out, was it last year or a while ago anyway? And it's a linen yarn, but it's a blend between linen and viscose, which apparently is another plant-based product. I didn't realise this, but Catherine from the Crafting and Treats podcast, who I was talking about earlier, she was sort of saying about it, and apparently, yeah, I thought it was, to be honest, I thought it was some kind of plastic viscose. I always thought it was some kind of like polyester type thing, but no, it's plant-based. So I like the feel of it, I like the look of it, but I really like the sort of idea of it being a little bit more natural. I mean, cotton is natural, but it's just a little bit more ethical, I suppose. Yeah, so I wanted to use linen drape for it, but the linen drape is a DK weight, and this pattern is a sport weight, but it seems like it comes up almost... Well, it's a strange gauge, but I think sport weight wouldn't, DK weight wouldn't suit it. I think it'd be better to go for a fingering weight, really. But yeah, it's a very strange gauge. The gauge she's given the stitch count, but then she said it's using a looser stitch. So you need to loosen your stitches by pulling up on the hook as you work to achieve the correct row gauge, it says. So the stitch count is quite easy to meet, but the row count is much longer than it would normally be, which is a bit weird. Why not just use a longer stitch? I don't know. Anyway, enough of my confused babbling. This is what I have so far. So I went with cotton in the end. I just needed a more affordable option for this, and I went with, let me show you what I went with. It's sheep-years yarn, and it's the Katona. Katona, is that how you say it? Yeah, I guess so. This is a vintage peach colourway, and this is 100% mercerised cotton. And I picked that based on the fact that it was affordable and had a fab colour range. I think, seeing how this comes, I might have actually, there was a paler peach, and I might have been better going for that actually. I didn't realise this was a bit darker than I thought it would come, but it's okay, it's still good. It'll be alright, won't it? I'll look alright. Let's hope so. Yes, so in summary, in conclusion, I did a gauge swatch, which I was reasonably happy with, but I think my row gauge is just going to be off. This sort of whole loosening the stitches thing is, I must admit, it has thrown me a bit. It says to take your time and make sure you match tension before you start, but did I do that? Hell no, I just dove right in. So yeah, so as you can see, this is going to need a bit of blocking. This is a back piece, by the way, and I think it looks really rather pretty. The pattern is looking lovely, but it is, you know, you can't see it as well at the moment, can you? So it's going to need a nice old block. So I was working on this last night, and I just finished the second repeat, and then I read the instructions again. I'm so rubbish at reading the instructions. And the bit where it tells you to repeat, I didn't quite understand. And I thought I understood, and I did it, and then I came, like, when I came to the end of it, I looked at it again and thought, no, maybe I just didn't understand and I did actually do the wrong thing. And looking at it now, I'm pretty sure I have actually done the wrong thing. So I've done too many rows, basically. But it doesn't look massively long, does it? And I think this is because I'm not getting the row gauge. So if we bear in mind this needs blocking out yet, so it's going to grow. I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to block what I've got so far and see where I'm at, basically. If I need to keep these extra rows that I've put on in error, I'm just going to make it work. Famous last words. I've looked ahead and I can see what I can do. Basically, I've done what it says for size 2, but my stitch count is size 1. But I think I can just make that work. I can kind of do the stitch count, carry on the stitch count of size 1, but just work the size 2 instructions, apart from where they don't work, obviously. Yeah, I'm just going to make it work. I'm just going to fudge it, that's the word I'm looking for, if I need to. But yeah, like I say, I've looked ahead and I'm pretty confident-ish that I can do that okay. So watch this space, we'll see what happens. Famous last Sandra words. I can never just follow a pattern, use the yarn specified, and just get on with it, can I? It has to be a whole big story. On which front, actually, the similar thing is going to happen. I didn't say the designer, did I? So it's Isa Katapian. So is it on there? Does it even focus if I show you? So she is the designer of that one, but she's also the designer of the other one I like. So I obviously like her style. And the other one I liked, again, I showed you last time. That's the water clover. Which is a little vest top one. And again, this is linen yarn. And again, it's sport weight yarn, I believe. Let me just quickly find the pattern. Yeah, sport weight. Oh, a cotton linen blend she's used for this one. So yeah, again, I went back to my linen drape idea. So like I said, it didn't work for that bigger one because it's an oversized top anyway. So if I just made it bigger, you know, I couldn't pick a small enough size to allow for this yarn making it bigger. But with this top, there's more sizes. So I think I'll be okay. I can just choose a smaller size. And I'm going to use the double knit yarn. And I'm just going to go for it. So I've done a little swatch to see how it would work out. So if I'm just going to make the size below the one I want, if you see what I mean. And because I'm using DK weight yarn, it's all going to work out the right size and it's all going to be perfectly easy and good. And that's how it's going to be. So yeah, so that's, I'm just holding it up against the white so you can see how pretty the pattern is. What was I going to say? I can't remember. Oh, this colour, yeah. So I went for this colour, which is Sangria. And Linen Drape's got quite a lot of nice colours that I really liked. So if this works out, I might even make another one of these tops, because I couldn't choose. They've got a really nice grey. They've got a really nice, actually, dark peach that would go really well under this. There's a really nice blue that I like. There's a mustard I like, but I don't know if I want that for something I'm going to wear. Yeah, but anyway, I wouldn't normally go for this colour, to be honest. It's nice, but it wouldn't draw me to it, to use it particularly, but I did think it might look quite nice on me. I tried we went to a meetup, and just a few of us have organised a little meetup thing, and Jodie, one of the lovely ladies who goes there, had a scarf. It was more purpley than this, but in this sort of darkish, sort of aubergine colour. And yeah, and I sort of tried it on and I thought, oh, actually, that looks quite nice on me, that kind of colour. Perhaps I should choose it more often. So I thought I would try it. So yeah, so that's why I'm going for this one. But I've just got the yarn for this, so I really want to start this one as well now. So I might just start it and deal with the consequences later. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 projects on the go. Another one I really want to cast on, because there's another pair of socks I want to make, which is lovely Jules' little rabbit socks. She very kindly gifted me a pattern. Thank you, Jules. Oh, it's so cute. I love it. I want to make it immediately. And I've got some yarn that I can use as well. I want to cast that on. I might do that as well. That would be 6. That is an outrageous number of projects for me. Right, so that is what I've done. That's what I'm doing. Next up would normally be pips, patterns in progress, but we have no pips to talk about at the moment because I've been doing other things. So moving swiftly on, we could go to goodies. Incoming goodies. What do I have? So I have some giveaway goodies. Again, must sort out this blooming giveaway. Yeah, I'll sort it out next time, okay? I have to write that down somewhere, otherwise I'll forget. Yeah, so Catherine, when she was sending me stuff, she sent me some minis as well that I can pop in. But she sent me these lovely stitch markers. So we've got a back and a front set, so you know what you're working on. And she's also got a right side and a wrong side that can be really handy reminders. So that's really good for, what was it I was making? Oh, my garter's a hoist shawl, because it's garter, but there's like a stitch down the middle. That'd be really handy for that, so you remember which one you're on, because you do the same thing most of the time, apart from one little bit. And I was also thinking I need to order some of Catherine's, she has like these, but she has with the stitch, the hook size on it, so sort of 3.5 mil or 4 mil or whatever, and then you can clip that to your project. So normally I don't have enough whips on the go for that to be an issue, but just lately I could really do with some of them, so I might go and order some. Anyway, that's a tangent. So these will be coming, they're an incoming goodie to me, but they'll be an incoming goodie to you soon. And I've also got some more lovely stitch markers. These are so cute. Let me show you. I'm leaving them all wrapped up because again, these are going to be for a giveaway. Look, they're little hanks of yarn, little mini hanks of yarn, and they're clipped onto yarn as well. They're so cute. So these are from, how are we saying this? Brighticus Yarns. She's got an Etsy shop, so that's etsy.com/shop/Brighticus Yarns, and she sells stitch markers in there. I wonder if she sells other things. Presumably she sells yarns because she's called Brighticus Yarns. So that's Amy. So thank you ever so much for sending those through for us, Amy. And she also popped in, look, a little goodies pack. It's sweeties and a nice candle. I can't smell it. Oh, actually, I can smell it slightly through the packet. But yeah, So those will pop in as well. So I just think they're lovely little goodies. So she's also got in here, and I can't see. So she's Brighticus Yarns on Facebook. She is Brighticus Yarns on Instagram and Brighticus Yarns on Etsy. Well, that's nice and easy to remember, isn't it? Yeah, so they're really pretty. So thank you ever so much for those, Amy. They are lovely. And we'll have to pop along and see what else you do. Really lovely. I wonder if you do sort of, there's some nice lovely neon colours in this yarn, isn't there? I wonder if there's a whole hank of that in her shop. Ooh. Have to go see. So those, and then my last incoming goodie, I might be sort of skirting around a few incoming goodies that came in between actually, but we'll come back to them as and when I use them. I guess like the cotton, Katona, why can't I say that? Katona. Why have I got a head block with that? I've shown you that, haven't I? And the linen drape that I got to make this has come in as well. And I actually ordered a sweater's quantity of something else. We'll talk about it as it comes to it. So the other day I was watching Jules's podcast. And as is so often the way when I watch Jules, that's So Sweet Violet, by the way. I'm sure you know that, but just in case you haven't seen her podcast and you want to go and check it out immediately, which I recommend you do. Yeah, so I was watching that, and she'd finished her floozy cardigan that she'd been making. She made it in white, and it was utterly beautiful. She's shown it before on Instagram, but yeah, she had a little model of it on her podcast, and it was so lovely, and I really liked it when I saw it before. And I just saw it finished and I thought, yes, I'm doing it. And she made it out of a dandelion and dogwood yarn in cloud, because hers was white. And I thought, oh, Amy's yarn. So Amy is one half of dandelion and dogwood. And Amy's yarn is always so beautiful, but it's quite hard to get hold of. I thought, oh, I'll go and look in her shop. There'll be nothing in it, but I'll just look anyway. And I looked, and she actually had a few bits left in there. So there was a really gorgeous skein she had in there, which I popped in my cart because it was beautiful. But then I saw that she had some of the actual cloud left, and she had enough. I've only got 2 here, but I have got 2 more down at the house. She had enough to make a floozy, so I got myself some. So I popped the other skein back because I thought 4 of these is plenty to be going on with. Yeah, so I got myself I was going to say a sweater's quantity because that's what you always say in America, but it's actually a cardigan quantity. It would be a jumper quantity here anyway. We tend to call them jumpers, not sweaters, but yeah. Anywho, this is her Married in Jeans colourway, and it's just so beautiful. And this yarn, look at it, oh my goodness. Beautiful. So it is a 69% silk, 22% kid mohair, 9% polyamide yarn. I have to say, for the 69% silk, that is a reasonable price. Actually, I didn't realise it had quite such a high silk content in it. To be honest, because Jules had used it and I knew how that had turned out and I could see the finished product, when I could see it in Amy's shop, I thought, oh, I probably didn't think about it quite as long as I maybe should have done. Oh, but that is just beautiful, isn't it? But yeah, I'm even more pleased with that now then. Because do I have anything else to tell you? Probably. Have I forgotten? Almost certainly. I'm probably going to wrap it up there. I know I have podcast questions that you've kindly left and I haven't answered yet. But this is a rambly episode and I'm just looking up at the time and oh my god, it's long already. So I'm going to stop now and I shall try and be a bit more on it next time. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, anyway, I must try harder. I will try harder. Hopefully now I've had my break, I'll be nice and refreshed and I can get on with things a bit for you. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you made it through this far, and have a lovely crafty time until we get to have a little chat again, and I'll see you next time. Bye!